Hey everybody, Jim Roth and Chris Carl here to talk about Jason Voorhees. Friday the 13th is upon us, which gives everybody a chance to talk about Friday the 13th.
And
movies.
They better be.
And they better be. Here's my question to you. I believe, the first movie came out in 1980 or 81?
Yeah.
And, with Kevin Bacon.
With Kevin Bacon was in there. It's funny, you had Kevin Bacon in the first Friday the 13th, Johnny Depp in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Anyways, it got me thinking, because, I'm not really a huge Friday the 13th
Blasphemer.
fan. All right, but why has this character, I do like that, but why is Jason Voorhees, why has he kind of stood the test of time? Why is this character still a thing 30-odd years later? Frankly, I never felt like there was much to him. He's kind of a hockey mask.
Because he's kind of a hockey mask.
Okay.
He is a walking, killing, giant hockey mask.
Supernatural
hockey mask. Force of pure vengeance spirit embodied in a freaking hockey mask that was an 11-year-old drowned kid who's out to kill all the teenagers of the world. It hits on every horror trope of the relentless, unkillable evil, and it's highly moralistic. You banging, you dying.
You taking drugs. There's all kinds of things
you
that
go camping, you die.
Yeah, he'll punish you for anything, really. But he mainly punishes teenagers.
He mainly punishes teenagers, and there's always the virgin girl who lives. Continue.
Want to take you back. The whole reason that Jason is even a thing, and I'm going to spoil the first movie. If you haven't seen the first movie, go watch it. It's Friday the 13th. Go watch it. Then come back here and listen to what we have to say. First movie, Jason is not in it until the very end, pretty much as a tag at the end of the movie, and his mother's the killer, right?
His mom.
So he was not iconic in the first movie at all. In the second movie, he wears a bag on his head, and he doesn't even get the mask until part 3. And that's when he became an icon. But these movies were like slasher movies. It was kind of building on the success of Halloween and taking it to a different place. And Roth is extremely right. It's a morality tale built on vengeance because he drowned in this lake and became the lake creature because they were being irresponsible. That's why the mother was killing teenagers off herself, and that's why he took on the mantle. Yeah. But bathed by the waters of Crystal Lake, he becomes a supernatural force of vengeance. Unlike Batman. Not unlike Batman.
In fact, in no way unlike Batman.
Well, it's kind of unlike Batman in that he just punishes people for being nude and having sex.
No, but the truth is...
Batman doesn't kill, and he's rich as hell. It
was a morality vengeance tale because the teenagers were off boffing and doing drugs, you do, and the kid drowned, and the mom was out for revenge. But then, here's the cyclical nature of the magic of Crystal Lake, is that Jason was then out for revenge because they killed his mom. And so it just worked like that. Do you see the cycle of death?
I'm going to go one further.
Go on further.
I'm going to go one further. I think it's a reflection on people's guilt, in this country especially, surrounding the things that they do as teenagers. The sex, the drugs, the drinking, all that stuff is portrayed. And it may even be a sort of weird way to curtail that activity as a culture. But I think it's almost like a personification of the culture in that, hey, you're going to get punished for these things. Yeah. Or it's the weirdest boogeyman tale ever.
So wait, does Jason then represent the vengeful god?
No, I don't think it's so much.
Maybe.
Here's the thing is that I actually legitimately, I did a whole study of horror tropes throughout Japanese mythology and Western mythology, and horror is really often used, even going back to Grimm's fairy tales that are really kind of scary. They are used to scare you straight,
motivate action.
To motivate action or to
inaction.
Dissuade other actions. They're motivated because there are such strict rules in those movies. If you were the good kid, you were probably going to live, at least for the first movie, though you'll get it in the second.
Isn't it too, oddly enough, now you've got me thinking and rethinking my position here, but I've read a lot about the original sort of fairy tales and the Grimm stuff, and Red Riding Hood, she died in the original one. The wolf ate her, end of story. And the moral was, you didn't listen to your grandma, you didn't listen to your mom, you strayed off the path of the went into the woods. And
you're going to die for it.
Yeah, and that's, basically then isn't Jason just the big bad wolf?
In the way that the Avengers are the gods of yore, this is like the wolf in the Grimm fairy
Yeah.
tale. He's like the guy that's going to get you if you spark that joint.
Yeah.
The guy that's going to get you if you go skinny dipping at the wrong time.
If you're the girl that's
Disproportionate
out,
response, though, don't you think? A machete
you're-
to the head over smoking.
Yeah,
a
But
joint?
hey, don't be a slut.
Scare straight. Scare straight. If you're out
Too
in
late.
the water skis topless, which if it's a Friday the 13th movie, I hope you will be, you're definitely going to die for it later, really horribly. You know, and
Probably
that-
maybe
that-
still topless.
You know what they should do?
Still
They should put
definitely still
piranhas into
topless.
Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, it's like
There's your mashup, folks.
it is hitting on all of
Ooh, I
those
like
things,
that.
but I would say also that because Jason cannot be killed, because he is a supernatural entity, that
And
it
an
does-
astronaut.
and an astronaut, and a scholar, and a gentleman, frankly, because he is those things, he also represents that fear of an evil that cannot be destroyed by human
Yeah.
hands. You know, that just
Even in
exists.
space.
Even in space. And that's the same thing that Michael Myers was. He's
Yeah.
just evil. It really introduced that concept.
I love characters that are the personification of an ideal in
Yeah.
some way. In a lot of ways, Captain America is that. He's like the ideal
you
of
just keep
patriotism.
bringing it back to Marvel. It's amazing.
I'm gonna, man. I don't care. Like, watch me
Let
do
it,
it.
let it
Do
be
it,
heard
do
here.
it.
Disney will buy Jason Voorhees
Yeah,
and introduce
exactly.
him into
But
the
like those
MCU.
characters,
As played by Andrew Garfield.
like any characters that are really, really popular in our culture, they become symbols, and the symbol of Jason is a hockey mask,
Yeah.
and you know what that stands for. In his case, it stands for evil, murder, killing, death. Don't have sex.
And a relentless good time at the theater.
Yeah, I mean, in addition to all those things, that brand is also
Yeah.
like you're gonna see people die in a lot of horrible
Yeah.
ways, and that's
It's
fun.
also so over the top. I think the thing that I really love about Friday the 13th as a franchise is that it is so over the top that it is just ultimately funny to watch.
Yeah.
The kills are so outrageous. And when they did the reboot, they did Friday the 13th, and they also did Elm Street and Halloween all around in the same
Yeah.
kind of few years. And the only one that I thought really nailed it was Friday the
Yeah.
13th because they captured that tone. There were topless girls. I was so happy when I saw the topless girls.
Oh, that's producer
on water
Michael Bay
skis,
for you. He knows how to do that.
But there was a great, in the first, Jason was huge. It was Derek Mears.
Yeah.
He was massive. He put somebody in a sleeping bag over a fire pit and burned him alive. It was crazy. And then, but the other thing that they did that was a little.
They were out there smoking weed.
Why were
Don't
they
do
doing
it.
that? Don't do it. That's the lesson. But the other thing
the
he
1980s all
did is
over.
that he found the girl that kind of looked like his mom, and this was new, and was like, "Nice pet, I keep you and I like you." Like that was a new thing for Jason. That was kind of
Yeah, he's really got mommy issues.
He's got some
He's got
mommy
another.
issues.
That's some more stuff we could say
That's a
about our
whole
society.
thing, yeah.
Whole other conversation.
All right, guys. Well, let us know in the comments why you think Jason Voorhees and the Friday the 13th franchise, but mostly Jason, has endured for so long. Again, give us a shout out on Twitter at Chris Carl, at Roth Cornett, at Stacks IGN. And for all things Friday the 13th and horror movies, keep it here on IGN.